Hey everyone, and thanks for stopping by. Today, we're focusing on pre-production blockouts based off concepts. This slightly long tutorial gives you some great tips for building the basis for a scene, using a concept as a reference. You will hopefully learn some new things throughout this tutorial, so let's go. So first things first, you've got to pick a concept, and there is a lot of places you can go to, but the main one that most people will go to pull a concept is ArtStation, because it's really where the game art community is. It's not on DeviantArt, it's not on Google Images, it's not on, I mean, Pinterest is great, but most of the stuff you see on Pinterest related to game art will probably link back to ArtStation anyway, so it's best to just go on ArtStation. ArtStation is awesome. If you don't have an ArtStation profile, just make one and start getting your portfolio together on there, and I'm hopefully here to help you with that. So this is ArtStation. It's pretty simple. It's just lots of square images going down a page. Now obviously we're working on environments here, so what we're going to do is we're going to click on Environmental Concept Art and Design. Make sure that we're set to 2D, which is here, and yeah, we're just going to have a look through. There's lots of really cool stuff on here, cool concepts, really good compositions that are quite sort of, they're good for a beginner to try. Okay, so I've got this picture now. I've got it in Photoshop. Well, not Photoshop actually. I have it in Photopea, which I'll also link in the description. If there's anyone out there that doesn't want to pay the price for Photoshop, or hates Photoshop, or I don't know, doesn't like Adobe or something like that, then Photopea is great. It's just literally a website link, and it's exactly the same as Photoshop, and you can just type it in on your browser and just get to work straight away. Building an environment from a concept into 3D. It sounds really complicated, and there's a lot of people that find it really complicated. I've got friends that they ask me for help on it all the time, and the stuff that they ask for help on is usually something really simple, because a lot of people will look at this and they'll think that it's really complicated, and that's the problem. It's confidence. Again, like I always mention in my videos, it's just trying to be confident, and once you can get on top of that, everything should go quite smoothly. But first off, people need to understand composition. So there's a lot online for composition, a lot of really technical tutorials, and I don't believe that's really necessary. And I'm going to do a really big tutorial at a later date on how to cheat at composition, and it's how to bypass all the stuff that you see on the internet, all those really complicated tutorials, and use my method, and you can just cheat completely through it, and not in a bad way either. So what we're going to do is we're going to break down this picture, and then we're going to turn it into a scene in Unreal Engine. Okay, and we're going to, so it'll be a pre-production scene, so this won't be fully detailed. This would be blocked out, but detail blocked out, and lit, but only lit 80%. So when you do a pre-production, you usually light it, I would say, by 80% in your blockout phase, and then when you do your detail phase, you would then do your extra bits, your extra 20%. Okay, so environments as a whole are really all about breaking down shapes. So the main thing that you're meant to focus on in this this concept is this area here. You're mainly meant to focus on this, okay? And what the concept artist does is he uses objects in the scene which lead your eye to it. So if you notice here, let's go with an orange colour or something. If you notice here, you have the horse here, and he is pointing there. You have these flags, they are pointing there. You have another flag pointing there. You have this person here, he points there. These houses, if you look here, these ones in the background, they are slightly facing towards there. This building here, it faces there. It all points to this bit, and including this bit as well. And then in terms of lighting as well, let me just do that. In terms of lighting, he's also got it so you're focusing on that. So this is the brightest area here. Notice how this area here is super dark, but then this area here is light. That's so that this light can basically lead to this building and show you this. And this bit is put in, this bit here is put in the dark so that you can see this more. Now, it sounds really complicated the way I'm saying all this, but it really is down to the user, the person that's viewing it, to decide these things. There's not a certain way that everything should be done, but looking at it from this approach definitely will help you when you go to do your 3D thing. So, not your 3D thing, your 3D scene, I should probably say. So, when looking at concepts, you've got to think about a thing called a foreground, which is this. And then you've got your midground, which is this. And then you have your background, which is this. Okay? And once you can get those down, then you're good. Now, in most cases, the thing that you're looking at in a scene is your midground. So that would be where your composition and everything is leading to, okay? Your foreground is there to complement that, and your background is there to complement that. And most of the time, your composition, the thing you're looking at in the center, where your eye is drawn, is in the midground. So keep that in mind. So, when we're looking at this scene, the easiest way of looking at a scene and copying this into 3D is thinking of everything as really simple shapes. Now, I want to stress really hard how important blockouts are. I see so many people just get some assets, some packs, something like that, and they just think, oh, I'll put in some actual 3D models and that can be my blockout. Wrong. This is a terrible way of doing it. The best way to do it is to use cubes, straight up cubes, because if you're using cubes, then you don't focus too much on the details, everything can be placed quite fast, rapidly, and that is the best way that you're gonna build a scene and things will start coming together, because you can experiment a lot more with cubes. And you'll see when I get into Unreal Engine. So, if we're looking at this as just shapes, then it becomes really simple. So this is just a square. For a blockout, this would just be a square, okay? That's a square. That's a square with a cylinder on the top. So obviously, I say just use cubes and cylinders, obviously, and cones. Basically, in Unreal, the basic blockout pieces, you know, which is a cone, cube, cylinder, plane, although you wouldn't really use a plane, and that's about it. So this bit at the back, square with a cone on the top. This bit here, square with a cone on top. These bits can just be cubes for your blockout. Cube, cube, cube. It's all cubes. And once you realise that it's just cubes and not some really complicated thing, then you'll really easily be able to build it. And once you get your blockout down and you've lit it your 80%, you can build a scene from that very, very fast. Okay, so now we're in Unreal, and I've got two very basic things set up. I've got Ultra Dynamic Sky, which is this. Just a sky, but I'm going to use it as my main lighting method because I love it. I'll link in the description, sorry. And then just a terrain plane. So first things first, you can either do this two ways. You can kick off with your blockout, or the start of it, or you can do your basic lighting setup. So I'm just going to do a really basic lighting setup. So I've got the concept, got it on Pure F here. If you haven't used Pure F, definitely use it. Awesome stuff, awesome. Obviously we've got a nighttime level here. Now, I'm not going for the full-blown lighting right now, so we're just going to make it dark-ish. So let's do that first. So, on Ultra Dynamic Sky, the first thing I'm going to probably do is just do this. Bring it to nighttime. Something like, yeah, like that. That's fine. Or we can bring it even like that. That's fine. There we go. It's quite bright, but that's kind of what we want, because in the picture, I mean, it is quite bright. Now, if you look at this image, if you're using your own image, then skip this bit. But if you're looking at this image, then you've got to understand that this is the terrain here is flat completely. We don't, apart from this bit just here, and these would just be rocks, you know, nothing serious. So worrying about terrain on your blockout for this scene is very easy, because you don't have to worry about it. So we don't have to do anything here in terms of terrain. So let's start getting in some of the really early bits on this blockout. So let's start with the main bit. So first we'll do this cube here. So let's go. So just on here, just drag in the cube from the basic section, just here. And do this. And we're just going to scale it up. If you press Control and then the tilde key, you can refocus your pivot. So I'm just going to move that back. We're going to say that our camera's here. If you want to know a little secret, say you want to keep coming back to this camera, go to the position that you want to go to, and then press Control and then 1, which I've just done. And now if I go over here and I want to go back to the camera position, if I just press 1, it takes me there. Then you can do Control 2, and I go over here, 2, you see what I mean? 1, 2, 1, 2, you can skip between them. This is amazing for creating composition, because, you know, it's easier than setting up a camera with all those weird, when you set up a camera in Unreal, they're great, they're really cool, but you have to set up loads of parameters on them to make sure that they've got the right focus, they're zoomed in correctly, and with this method you don't have to bother doing that. Another thing actually that I think would be quite cool to tell you is, say you've got 2 monitors, then another way that you can really help yourself here is if you go to Window at the top, Viewports, and then Viewport 2, you can actually add a second viewport. Obviously I can't show you on this video because I'm recording just the one screen, but you could add this to your second screen, and you could literally place it on your second screen, just pretend this is my second screen, and then I could be doing work in here, and you can just keep looking at your second screen, and that's how you can create it quite well as well, because you can work in this screen like this and keep your composition screen on your other screen like that. It's really helpful. I literally do it for my YouTube videos. The speed ones that you've seen maybe on my profile, those ones are literally done with this method where I record that second screen and then I'm working on the other screen. For the purpose of this video though, I can't really do that viewport method, so we're going to work with the Control 1 way. So let's do this. So we've got our main square here. It's probably facing more like this, I would say, and then let's make it larger. Something like this. Just keep going back, keep looking at the concept. We can see here that there is we got another square here and another square here, so let's add them two. Square. Don't even need to scale it, just bring it down into the terrain. Let's check to see if it's slightly, just slightly back, so it's like there. Notice how I could be moving about like this and then going 1, but a lot of the time I do like to just sit here at the composition bit and just do it from here, because it's just a bit easier. So another 1 here. Let's just check the height on them, see if they're okay in terms of height. So they're actually a bit lower. So we're going to put them there. Next, we've got this building here. Let's get this in. So we just think of this as a cube with a cylinder on top, like I said earlier. So let's do that. So just grab one of these, duplicate it, rotate, and we're just gonna do that. Check if that's right. Just rotate a little bit, and you're just guessing. Concepts aren't here to be copied exactly. Nobody copies concepts completely to the exact. If they are, then they're probably doing it wrong. A concept is there to be manipulated, changed, stuff like that. So if you get a little tiny bit wrong on your concept, just don't care. Don't even think about it, because you can adapt, make things better. That's what concepts are for. So we're going to put that cylinder on top, and just put that through. I'm going to move actually for this bit. So I'm just going to put this on top. Press 1 again. Check it out. The building's probably actually a bit higher, so we're going to move this up. But then we want to check to see how high it is in comparison to our main building, and then this would make us realise that we probably should move this down like that. Now, just to the left of that building, there is actually another building, so we're going to do that. Is there a space between those two buildings? Yes, there is, just there, so we're just going to move this down and make sure the space is shown. Do the control tilde key to make the pivot work again. It's still not going that well. Going to move this a little bit closer, I think, so we've got more room on our side. There we go. Press 1. Lovely, lovely. Now, obviously, with a camera, you can change the focal region, so you would be able to widen the lens and then see more in the picture. But if I start setting up a camera and everything like that, it's going to take ages. And I literally don't use cameras at all for any of my portfolio pieces, and I would say they've come out quite good. So we're going to just ignore cameras. Okay. Let's evaluate to see if this space between these two buildings is enough. As you can see, it's actually a lot smaller. So we're going to move this closer, more like there, and then that will give us more room to move this closer. Now, if you see, we've got this rock here on the left-hand side, and we've got this path leading in. Let's get the rock in. So for the rock, we're just going to use a cube, nothing serious here. So just get a rock in, and keep looking, just keep going back and forth between your image. As you can see, the rock is kind of framing this picture, so it's there to kind of stop you seeing out to the right, and it's meant to be a boring thing that's there, so you focus on this middle bit. So we'll just put the rock in, and it's really just there to make it look boring. Now, I'm not going to make the rock just look like a cube and make it look a bit rocky, so we'll just do bits like that, etc. Like that. Brilliant. Yeah, that's fine. And the rock, does it cover out the right hand side of this? So we would check that. And it does, or the flag does. So we could just put the flag in. So let's do the flag pole. I'm actually just going to do it like a flag. So cube, and then duplicate, and then just do this, and then that, you see? Very simple. And it covers, notice how it covers like this area here. Also the rock is higher, so we can do that. Bring it more forwards in like that. I'm going to just scale it. Brilliant. And is the flag sloped? It is a bit. It faces forwards just a tiny bit, so we're just going to do that. Brilliant, brilliant stuff. Okay, so then on the corner of this building here, there's a rock. See, there's a rock here with a flag in front of it. Let's get that in. Let's just copy and paste this rock. Ooh. Get that right on the corner there. Press 1 again. It's a bit lower, this rock, so we're just going to bring this down. Scale it a bit. Like that. Get another flag in. Hang on. Having some flag issues. And it's slanting up into the sky here. And it's in front of the rock, is it? Yes. But we want to make sure that it is... So you've got this flag here, but then this flag is more off to the left. So we want to make sure... And the flag is facing just a tiny bit this way, so you just want to... And this is the thing, you're just going back, you're just looking at a detail. You're saying, like, is this rock in front of this flag? And then we go, yes it is. And then we just put a little cube in there. Like that. Make it slightly like that. Maybe duplicate the cube just and put a bit up like that. And then that gives us a rock shape. That's fine. Notice how we've got some rocks here. That frames the path. This whole green bit, in fact, frames the path that leads into the level. I'm going to call it a level. It's not really a level, but we're going to call it a level. So let's get that in. So it's just it's our framing here. Now we want to check to see how high that is. If you notice the beam, I think it's like a wooden beam, I guess you could say, on the concept. Just here, this thing and this, they're like, I'm guessing it's like an old fence that has not been knocked down or broken or something like that. Anyway, it comes up above this bit and kind of goes over the house there, so we'll get that in. So we're just going to duplicate this. And when you see the way I'm doing this, you'll realise that it's not that complicated. I am literally just going back and forth with the... this rock's quite a bit lower, actually. I'm going back and forth with the concept, just endlessly looking at shapes, these squares, and I'm just adding them to the scene. I mean, it's really that simple. Now, obviously, we're not going to have a horse and a character in the scene, so... we just need to ignore that and think like what would be there, including with these characters here. We're not focusing on that at all. So we would just be focusing on what is there behind that character, which in this case just be a rock, I guess, or something like that, you know, nothing serious. So we're just placing in these wooden beams. Now I'm not really focusing exactly where those wooden beams are, I'm just kind of doing it. So right here is where that horse guy would be. I would actually say that we could bring this in, all of this in here, just a tad closer to us. Bring it further this way. Gonna rotate it just a tad. We can bring it in like that and just bring it over. There we go. Like that. Something like that. We want this path to be like... kind of bringing it back to where it is, but just little adjustments anyway. And I'm going to just bring this, to frame this more, I'm just going to like make the rock come out a bit more, maybe. This is just me just adding bits to how I please. So this is probably the hardest bit, getting this frame in, I guess. Notice here in our mid-ground, we've got like some rocks and stuff like that. Let's just get them in. I'm literally just going to duplicate these and place them like around here and stuff. So just do that. Some rocks and stuff like that. Check the concept again. We got some rocks like here. We're doing some quite small details here, but it's good to get this early stuff in nice and quick. Got some more rocks here. Let's get the background stuff in. So this stuff here. Now, it's really, really far away, so we don't need to, even though this is a block out, we don't need to focus on the details too much on these things really far away. So we can just smash these out super fast. So you can go over there and just drag a cube over there, get that ready. And it's in the far background. It's in the far... oh, not that far. And we just want to, I'm just going to keep going back over there, back and forth. You can press F and that'll bring you over there nice and quick. I don't actually use the F button very much though. And we look at the concept. It's just a mixture of loads and loads of cubes, if you look, and cylinders in the far background with some fog. So I'm not going to concentrate too much on it. I'm just going to go like this. Oh, not like that. I'm going to go like this and move stuff back a little bit. Like that. And rotate stuff. And do like that. And maybe bring a bit forwards because it's all about making the shapes interesting. So we want to have like this face here in the background. Look at the concept again. And there's just one on the top, one little house on the top. And then you've got the tall tower, which is that, with a cone on the top. Like that. Check it again. There's like a bridge going across. Just do something simple. Don't need to think here, guys. If you're on this right now and you're feeling like you're being a bit slow, then just say to yourself that confidence is key, and you just need to go for it and just be fast, like I'm doing right now. Duplicate this out for the other tower, which I believe is lower. Yeah, it is. So we just bring this lower. Probably bring the bridge a bit lower. The bridge looks like it's made of like multiple bits with like arches. We don't need to focus on doing arches, but we can just do like this. I don't know if it's covered by the... It's not covered. So let's make them thin so we can see multiple arches. Like that. Check how far it is. It's a lot further than what we've got it, so we're going to move it further back. So we're just going to select everything. Everything here. All of this. All of this. Every single bit of it. And we're just going to move it back. Going to press 1. Bring it over here more. Bring it lower as well. Bring these bits higher. By doing that. Sort of thing. And yeah, that's good. Notice how we've got like a mountain type thing here. We're going to quickly go on the terrain. It's not a mountain, it's just a tall bit of rock. We're just going to go on the terrain thing here, and we just basically want to add terrain here. Keep pressing 1, going back to your bit. Let's make this bigger. Like that, pretty much. Yeah, more or less like that. That's kind of funny because I was just painting very randomly. It came out more or less exactly the same. And we press 1. And yeah, and then basically what we're going to do, just to add some interest, let's just add a tiny bit of bits around here and stuff like that. Not that high though, that was a bit extreme. Just smooth that down. Just want to add a bit of height to the terrain because height adds shape. Smooth this just a little bit by just clicking on it. And then now that we've got that, we're going to then go back over here, because if you look at the thing, you can kind of see all this over the hill. So we're just going to go over here and just raise it, more or less. So yeah, you can see the houses over the hill. So we want to make sure that we're getting those in. So let's put that like that. And then, obviously, it'd be better if we selected these and just brought them down like that. Cool. And we're just going to do some more houses over here. Nothing serious, just want to add shapes in the background. Want to get like another face like that, because that'll add like the moonlight onto it. Okay, brilliant. So next, what can we do next? So let's do these buildings here in the background there. So I'm just going to duplicate this cube, and it's a square, a square, a square, and a tower with a cone on top. Okay. So we'll do the right square first, this one here. Notice how, if you're looking at this, it's just over the top of this. So it's just over the top of this thing that we have selected. So, and is it as far back as the other thing? No, it's not. So we'll move it to like there, I suppose. And just keep pressing 1 and going back and just checking your scene. Check the pure F. It's facing like this way, the building, if you look. And that's that building done. It's probably a bit higher actually. And it's actually a bit further back as well. It's like there more. And bring it back in. And then we're going to do the building that's further behind it, which is like a church building. Then we check again, is it lower? Yes it is. Bring it lower. Press 1. Check it out. That's fine. Put the steeple on it. So we just go like this. Duplicate it. Make a tower. Go like that. Get a cone. Put that on the top. Icing on the cake. Now I know this is technically a rectangle shape, but it doesn't matter because from the angle that you're looking at it, people are just gonna think it's a square, so it doesn't matter, and it's a block out, so it doesn't matter anyway. And then we've got this square here, which basically just comes out the back of, more or less out the back of this building that's in the mid-ground here. So we're just gonna duplicate that out and just do that. Cool. That's that bit done. Lovely. If you've got this far, well done. You're doing well. Next, we've got the buildings that are behind our main bit. So let's get that in. So when you're looking at it, it is literally just a load of towers, more or less. So I'm going to press 1 again. I'm just going to grab the main building. I'm going to duplicate it, scale it. Not that much. That's crazy. Now we got to check like where it is according to the. So this is the top of our main bit. This tower is more to the right, so be like there. It's further back, definitely. It's like there. Yeah, it's there. Press 1. Bring it higher. Like that. There's other towers like further back and around it, a lot lower, so we're just going to do that. Make sure we can see them. Like that. In the background, you want to... stuff like that. Make it thinner. Just double check. So it's actually more like this, the tower. And we can move these, add more towers. Stuff like that. Just shapes. I'm just doing this very randomly at this point. Just some shapes like that. Just get a cone on the top. Like that. Check the pure F. Like that. Now, next, I think it would be good if we added in some sort of roofing or something like that, maybe, for some of the tops of our buildings. We can test it and see if it works. Just something simple. We don't need to focus too much here. So if we check the pure F, the roof on that is facing forward. So I'm just gonna make a slope basically. Like that, and I'm just gonna go like that. I'm not really gonna do this properly on everything. I just want to add a bit of roofing here and there just to make this look just a bit more detailed than it is. So I'm just gonna do that. Same here, we've got to make it look like a roof, so just bring it out a little bit, bring it down. Lovely. We can do the same for, let me just check the other buildings. Yeah, so we can do the same for this building here. I'm just going to duplicate the building itself and then just do the scaling because it's easier than moving a diagonal roof piece across. So just adding just extra details, nothing too serious. Check it on the 1, that's fine. Bring the cylinder up a little bit. Where is the cylinder on this? So it's more on the right actually, so I'm just going to do that. There is a cone on the top, let's just add that cone on the top. Scale it down because it's quite a small cone, I would say, in terms of height anyway. Check that on the 1, perfect, that's fine. Move on, let's get a roof here. Rotate. Scale. Scale. Keep the width. Like that. Lovely. Check it. That's fine, although you can kind of see on the side here. So we're gonna not worry about that. I don't think. I think we're gonna leave it. So I mean, it's just a block out. So the next thing is I want to just keep looking. So actually this tower, when you look at it, you can see like the side of it quite easily. It actually is at the back of this building here. It's at the back of it. So we should move the tower so that we can see that. And then if you look, there's like a little building coming off it, which does create a lot of good shaping. So I'm going to add that in. I'm just going to duplicate this. Like that. It's kind of like sloped a little bit, that building, so I'm just going to slope it. I'm going to make sure these are still visible for us. And you can even see some towers like above the rock here, so we can do that. And we're pretty much done with our block out, really. The only thing I would say is we need to get this kind of like more shape onto our main building here to make this feel more detailed. So if you actually look, this building's made up of 3 squares, technically. You've got this square here, you've got this square here, and then you've got this square here. It's kind of just, that's how you would do it in a block out form. So we're going to bring this down, and then we're going to duplicate, and then we're going to do that. Check the thing again, and then do the top one. Thinner, like that. There we go. Pretty much like that, isn't it? And what we want to do is, if you look at this, the way this is facing is also the same way this is facing, and you can kind of see the full, you would be able to see the full roof on this building. I would actually go to say that the camera could do with just being raised a little bit, more or less here. Just a bit, like that. If you bring it in low though, it will add a lot more things, but obviously if you're doing a concept, you can do multiple shots, so it doesn't really matter too much. So now this is pretty much exactly the same because I've raised the camera. I'm just going to do a little bit of rotating here and there, but it's pretty much the same. So we're going to get some lighting in. If we look at the concept here, now remember I said at the start we have to get about 80% of our lighting in. So looking at this area here, if you look at the concept, they're lit by torches. It's probably braziers, some sort of fire, something like that. So let's get them in. We're not going to get the torches in, we're just going to get the lights in. You can't even see the torches in the thing anyway. So first things first, I'm going to add in, I'm going to make all my lights movable. I'm not going to be building because I don't want to be sat here ages building for you guys. So if we're looking at the concept, let's just do this from right to left, literally, and then that way we can do this the easiest. Okay, so we've got a light here. Now obviously that intensity is pretty high. We're going to turn it down to like 3, something like that. Change the light to the orange colour. I think that's the right colour, right? More or less is the right colour. And then we can just duplicate these torches along. At the minute, what these point lights are giving us is base lighting. So we're just establishing where's brightest and it would obviously be there. And we get a light there. And then we have here, we have lights there, like that. And then on the left, we've got a little bit of lighting, but it does fade out. Something like that. Bring it in a bit lower, more on the light there. And we've got a light up in our church building thing here. Like that. Then in the background, we have a light there. Press 1 again. Check where we're at. Oh, gonna scale it up a bit. Maybe bump up the intensity just a tad. But we don't want to do it too much because we don't want to take the focus off this main bit. Just want to get it on the corner here, basically. And then if we check the concept again, there's a bit of lighting in the back there, so we're going to add that. Check it. Bring it in lower. Bring the intensity down because it's pretty faded, that light there. Press 1 again. Check our scene, check the concept. And now that we've got some more lighting in, let's add a bit, just a tiny few more details in, because we've got these two flags on either side of the door. I just want to get them in. Like that. I think they're a lot smaller though. Be more like, oh yeah, press 1. Yeah. So we just bring it in lower, and then scale the flags. I shouldn't do it like that, I should do it singularly. Just scale the flags a little bit. Can just delete this one and duplicate that. So that's our flags. I'm going to just put a front door on as well, on the building. So yeah, just duplicate this and bring it in. And I know the door is technically coming out here, but all we're doing is establishing that there is in fact a door there. Preferably better than that. There we go. So that's our door. Move it a bit more there. And check the pure F again. Yes, we got that there. And then now what we want to do is we want to add a bit more detail lighting. So what you can do is when you're working with a movable, so dynamic lighting, you don't have global illumination at your disposal. Global illumination is kind of like the colours that you see like around the main lights, like the fade out colour more or less. And so on these buildings here you can see a lot of purple where the orange is like fading out into the blue. It's like the transition colour between the orange and the blue here. What you can do is you can add in like fake lighting more or less to fake global illumination. So it's quite a good tip. So I could get like a rec light, something like that, press G, and I can just turn it round, face it on its side like this, bring it in low, well not low actually because the fade out it starts like there above, so bring it out a bit, face it the building so you don't get this like harsh line, and then I can basically, first let's make it purple, that purple colour from the orange, check it here. It's kind of bright still, so we're going to change it to like 3, something like that. And I'm going to make it slightly more desaturated. And we're just going to basically, if you look at this here, you can make it go further, like this and like this. We're just going to do that. And I'm going to make my lights more orange because they're pathetic at the minute. It's better if I just select the point lights like that. We're going to make them more like reddish orange, like that. And then that makes, yeah, see now the purple just feels a lot more natural on that rec light. Let's get that rec light again, and we're just going to adjust the colours a little bit. If you look at the purple on this, it's more in the blue, because obviously it's transitioning into blue. So if we do that, but obviously we don't want to make it too noticeable, so it'd be like that. There you go. And then we faked some light in there. I am actually, not these point lights, but this, I'm going to turn cast shadows off, because obviously if it's fake lighting, it's, yeah. I'm going to bring these flags in front a little bit. They're being affected rather heavily by our fake lighting here. So we need to change that a little bit. So what we can do is we can just move the fake lighting forwards, and then we can just turn the amount down like that. There you go. There we go. So see that? We've got like we've got some fake lighting for the purple because we don't have the global illumination. So next, I'm going to add in another one of these, and I'm just going to do it for this building here. I'm going to make it smaller, like that. Turn the attenuation radius down, like that. We can just do that. Press 1, check the concept. This rock here, to be fair, it goes like literally all the way like here, so we can just do that as well. Because at this point you're just adding to what you've got, you know, so yeah, we're just adding to what we got. So the ultra dynamic sky, let's play around a bit with the lighting a bit more. We want to have more contrast in our sky, make it more blue, because on this the sky is really blue. Are there clouds in the sky? Yep, there are, so we're going to add some clouds. Just turn on this. Now, if you're doing a stylized scene, which to be fair, I think this is a stylized scene, then turning sub-noise scale down, up actually I should say, will make your clouds like really thick, which is quite nice. I'm going to turn my moon lighting up, and turn this up a little bit. And at this point, we just got to ask ourselves, how close is our thing to the concept? I'm going to keep looking at it. I'm going to thin this out. It feels like it was too thick. And just scale this along. And then just keep looking back and forth. We can even adjust our camera a little bit. If you want to just adjust the camera a little bit. This flag, for example, is actually a lot closer than we think. It's more like there. And you've got like trees and stuff in the background here. We can actually, when it comes to trees, I actually will just use a non-cube. I'll use an actual tree. So if I just go on here, stylized forest, trees, this is from a pack, I'll include it in the description, like always. Press 1, obviously that's massive, and these trees are quite small and the things, so we can just scale these down. Looking at it again, yep, they're quite low, so we can just do that, and like that, almost a bush really. Again, over here, we can make this way smaller. Like that. Even smaller. some like trees here. Is there a second one? There's a few. Notice how the trees do actually make the scene feel like it's coming together, to be fair. Just check for other trees. No, we're good. We're good on that. So I think the main thing at this point that you would want to establish is that sky. That sky is very bright on one side and very dark on the other. So I'm going to try and get that working. So at this point, I think the most important thing we need to focus on is getting this bright lighting and this saturated look. Let's do some work in the post-process volume, and then basically from there we can adjust other things, okay? So visual effects, post-process volume, I'm going to drag that in. I'm going to type in on here INF and turn on infinite extent. This will make it encompass the entire map. And then we're just going to make some adjustments here and there. So get my PureRef and just take a look at stuff. So first of all, everything is way more saturated. I mean, that is obvious. So we're going to saturate it. The temperature is warm in areas and cold in others. I think we could do something like that. It's definitely lighter as well. That's the other thing. If I go to the moon, we can make the moonlight definitely lighter. I mean, that is for sure. I think we should bring the moon over here to make the sky on this side more light. You know what I mean? So if we do this, I'm going to bring it lower as well. Like that. I'm going to bring it slightly round, and we can turn turning the scale up does sort of affect things a little bit. Turn the phase makes it really dark, so don't mess with that. And press 1. Look at our thing. We're getting the colours more. We're definitely getting the colours more. The skylight in our scene is definitely more purple when you think about it. So let's adjust this, because technically our skylight in this case is our moon. See how we're definitely getting more there. Now I could just make the moonlight like this color here, and then I could basically go and type in or find the skylight. So I click on here, type in skylight. Don't know why it's not showing. Skylight. Okay, it's because I didn't put a space. Okay. So here, yeah, the skylight intent. So if I do this, this probably won't work because we're not using. Yeah, didn't think so. Okay, so we can change this. See how this will change like certain things. We can basically mess with that quite a lot. Check this. But our skylight's actually quite dark, so if we do something like this, that's probably too dark. Or I think 7.5 maybe might be the ultimate. Maybe a bit brighter actually. 0.85 then. Something like that. Let's go back on our post-process volume, and we're just going to keep messing with things. So we want everything to just feel more contrasty, saturated, etc. So we're going to do this. And we need our brightness of our scene. Do the gain, not the gamma. So something like that. Turn that up. Lovely, lovely. And if we go, let's get some ambient occlusion into the scene. So intensity, turn both these on. I'm going to put the intensity to top, and then we're just going to adjust this. Something like that. Lovely. I'm going to make the quality, tick the quality box, make that 100. And we're really getting there now, guys. We're really getting there. And can you see, though, from here you would be able to build a scene very, very easily. You're doing, like, your initial steps, you're doing that right now. And then, you see what I mean? And then basically you can move on from this bit into the detailing phase really easily. Because all you're doing on the detailing phase is just adding the actual models in, and then adding more stuff on here, putting the textures in on the floor, bits of pebbles, rocks and stuff like that. You're just improving upon this. That's all you're doing at that point. So it's once you get this phase done, this pre-production phase, you're sorted. You're really good, and you don't need to worry too much at all. I'm just gonna add in, like, it's massive, that is. Just add in, like, some stuff like that, because why not? Back on the post process, let's just add in some more bits here and there. We could boost the power of our ambient occlusion a little bit, just a little bit, not too much. I do usually do that. Let's have a look. What else can we do? Where's scene tint? Yeah, here. So we can mess with this to match this more. I'm going to drag this over to my other monitor, and I'm going to try and match this. Like that. I'm going to mess with our clouds a little bit, because they're a bit... It's just one massive cloud. It'd be nice if we could scale them out a little bit more. So let's do... I've got this set to background only clouds. Let's make this do that. So it's just a better quality. Make them higher. And make them, like, more thin, like that. Subnoise scale, we've obviously messed with that already. And we could play with the subnoise scale, I suppose, make them a bit more detail-y. And you can add, like, erosion to them, and you don't want to mess with this one too much. And we're just playing with it. We're not thinking too much here at all. Like that. And yeah, it's looking good. The other thing I would like to do is change my fog colour. The fog is the wrong colour basically at the minute. Now, there is something that I will show you that I do like to do with fog on this, which is if I scroll to the very bottom, all the way, pretty much. Oh yeah, we can just quickly mess with the star intensity, star tiling as well. That's probably a bit extreme, really. But we can change, like, the star intensity, which is nice. Sky glow, so night sky glow is pretty handy for we can get like that purple colour in. I am going to change those clouds back because I've definitely made that worse. Light pollution colour, crazy. Don't think I've seen that before. I'm just gonna adjust this a lot. There we go. And if we bring this down to here, we currently have the height fog set to built-in component. If we remove this and do disable completely, obviously it's looking horrible right now. I'm going to just add in the height fog that comes in Unreal because it's really, really nice. Turn on volumetric fog and just adjust the colours on that because it's just so much better. And then on here, like that, and we just want to adjust this so that it's more like that kind of thing, but not that bright. And we can make the fog density really high, but then we can make the start distance kind of far, like 20,000, like that, and then we can bump this up to like 1 or something. Okay, not that far, Jesus. 0.5, 0.2, 0.1. And then we can adjust the colour. Because on our thing here, the fog is sort of like this, like weird. It's kind of like that, but less. I think if we go 0.08. Okay, even less then. 0.04, something like that maybe. Okay, so it's more than that. So 0.06. Something like that, and then we can change the color back to basically that is more or less the color. And then the emissive, try not to mess with this because you'll just break everything, so don't touch that. And then we got our volumetric fog, which you're not going to see much with because, well, you're not. So now that we've done that, we're pretty much, good to go onto the next phase. I am just going to adjust this sky, but if you look at the I'm going to reset these. If you look at the original concept now, we're pretty close. We just need to get this more purple vibe going, which we'll do in our post-processing, and then we're done. And we can move on to the next phase. So let's just turn these back off, because I actually really like the clouds the way they were before, and the stars. I don't like how our stars have changed as well. So let's go back onto here, go down to the stars, and we've turned that down again. There we go. Notice how we've got a lighter side here now and a darker side here. It's because of that moon glow setting that we did, pretty much. Let me get back to it so that you know where it is. It's not actually this, it's part of... Oh yeah, and we could change the volumetric cloud colour as well, which will obviously help our scene. Make them, on the concept, they're like, if you look at them, they're like purpley sort of colour. They're like that. Maybe less actually, not that much. Yeah, like that. So let's go into that post-processing volume. I just want to make the scene brighter a little bit, because our scene's really dark compared to their thing. Their light intensity on the concept is actually less as well. So if we select our point lights, not everything like I just did there, set our point lights, and we can either turn the intensity down, which I'm going to do, just do that, yeah. And that is better, to be fair. Post-processing volume, I'm just going to bump the gain up even further, and the gamma as well. Not by much. There we go. It's looking good. It's looking really good, guys. And that's pretty much it. I mean, when we look at this, what do we notice that's different is our skylight is more purple, which we can adjust. And obviously the sky is different. You're never going to get the exact sky that you see in a concept. That's like very, very difficult. You'd be looking to do like some custom stuff really for that. Yeah, we mostly just need to adjust our skylight, which could be done in a post-processing volume. We can just change our shadows to be more of a purple colour, but I think the best way would be if we changed the... Just messing with this a little bit, hang on. So if you look at this, everything is just slightly bluish purple, so I want to try and replicate that. And then, yeah, our skylight needs to basically be slightly darker and more purple. So that can be done with the moonlight. So we go back to the moon again. And we will change the moonlight intensity a little bit. And then our skylight, we're going to mess with that skylight again, which I hated doing, but has to be done. So search component, no, not search component, search details, skylight, light, remember there's a space, and we're going to turn this down to something like that, I suppose. The other thing I think I'm going to do is I'm going to move this up further, and I'm going to change the intensity on it to 0.7, and I'm going to move it further back so that there's not that harsh transition. Like that. There we go. Cool. And that is pretty much it. Now obviously our sky and the way the clouds are moving and everything like that will affect the lighting on the scene. So just keep that in mind. And yeah, that's it. I'm probably going to do this in parts, so the next video will go on to the detailing phase and the final 20% of lighting, because remember this is only 80% or even 70% of the lighting, and we would probably do another 20% more at the end. So this is just part one, and I hope it worked for you. And I'm actually just really quickly I'm going to just bring this past that, because those flags look really weird otherwise. And yeah, that's it for this part. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on part 2, which I'm going to release in about 2 days' time after this release. Thanks, cheers.